My name is Minerva White, and I live in Akwesasne on the south portion, I guess, of the reservation in New York State. I have a lot of things that I'm proud of. My family, for one. But there is one thing that stands out, and that is the change that I was instrumental in making a change in the education of Mohawk children. It started back in 1968-69. And we stood up for our children. And we had a boycott. We boycotted the school. And so that stands out in my memory. And that was like 50 years ago, 50 plus years ago. So we made a change in state law, federal law and state law, so that indigenous people now, as they're called, and I'll probably use the terms interchangeably because when I started out we were Indians, then we went to Native Americans, and now we're indigenous, okay? So these changes paved the way for Mohawks and all natives who lived in New York State on an Indian reservation to be seated and to be able to vote in school boards of education. So, and you could also run for office. So I was one of two of the first to be seated on the school board at Salmon River Central School and served there for 10 years. It opened the doors so that when you're within the power structure, it opened doors for hiring people from the reservation. Before that, we were lucky if we had bus drivers. We also instituted the very first language teachers, Mohawk language teachers in the school at the St. Regis Mohawk School. We didn't quite make it yet to Salmon at the time. This is right after things happened. But we did get 2 people to teach who were fluent enough to teach the language. They really were not teachers, but we hired them based on the fluency. I suppose you could start out at the Mohawk School. The teachers there were probably 98% non-Indian, okay, white. And I recall 2 teachers at the time that I went there that were Native, okay? I recall that I knew that I was Mohawk because my mother and father were Mohawk, and they spoke Mohawk, and my grandmother spoke Mohawk. However, we did not speak it at the school. They discouraged that. So we did have one teacher, Mr. Fadden, who was teaching, not the language, but the culture and the dances and that kind of thing. And they stopped him from doing that. So I guess that's a pretty good bias. And he got so discouraged that he moved away and went to, I think he got a job in Saranac Lake, and taught school there. And then I had a school teacher who gave a test. And there was one question about Indians. And as she was passing out the paper, she came, before she got to my desk, she said, everyone missed the question on Indians. I can still hear her. And she put my paper down in front of me on my desk. She said, and even the Indian got it wrong. So I didn't say anything, but it really hurt because I didn't really know that much about us either. And the teachers that taught us, that's the other thing. The teachers that taught us didn't know anything about us either. Even if they wanted to teach us, that wasn't the way they learned at the college to get their teaching degrees. So there's a lot there. I really learned from my experiences, throughout my life, that I found that while change causes both disruption and distraction, that it also provides opportunity. So I had to watch the distractions and didn't let those distractions alter what our goal was. And that was referring back to the changing of the law. We had to change the federal law first and then come back in New York State and change that. I did it twice. Paved the way also for funding for libraries on Indian reservations. That was the other thing. So, and all of that were fights. Yeah, I don't mean to, it's not a fisticuff thing to do, but it takes years. But you can't ever give up hope. When I spoke to the graduating class at North Country Community College a couple of years ago, and I worked very long and hard on that speech, and when I first started writing, I threw it away. I should have seen my paper basket was full, wadded up papers, because I didn't want to give those people that were graduating just a big sad story without giving them hope for the future. And I think you have to really work hard at it. You have to stay the course, as I said before. And you have to look out for your fellow man. And as long as people do that and hold that line, there's hope. I see myself as a road paver, I guess, to begin things. And then I only did so much and then moved on, and others took over. That's number one. There's others that are going to come behind you, and they're going to have better ideas and newer ways, and they'll be educated. I worked at St. Lawrence University. I worked at SUNY Potsdam, and then I became the coordinator of Native American education in New York State Education Department. So it doesn't matter where I went, I was always teaching and telling people about us. And that's why I say there was no end. At least that's the way it was at my time. You were always educating. It didn't matter where you were. What I have here is, it takes time to educate teachers to see us in a different light, because once you get to know who you are, you're equipped to teach others.